Well, y'all, tomorrow is Independence Day. And it's gonna be one of the worst Independence Days America has had in a long time. Because tomorrow, the the terror that is the big beautiful bill will be signed, and it will be such a dramatic occasion. And because of that, our country is really fucked. And I see a lot of different things that are occurring, have occurred, and will probably potentially maybe transpire in response to all this. So, been reading Sapiens. Wow, amazing book. It has been a minute since I've done one of these because I was out in the desert. I can't believe I didn't do one of these in the desert. Boom. I'll do one in Japan. But yeah, so I have been traveling, went to Nevada, got flown out to do poetry, perform it, teach it, and also teach the history of Juneteenth. And I think it was such a great experience to teach a large group of people. It was definitely a challenge, especially the age range, but I would say overall it was successful. Did I reach every child? No. But did I reach out for them? Yeah, I reached out for every single one, but there were some that, just chose not to do it. And that's all right, because poetry to a third grader might not be fun. But if you tell them they can write about a chicken jockey, they'll write a poem. So, that's what life has been. Had a chance to go to a brand new city, but not only a brand new city, but a brand new environment. I'd only been to Nevada and Arizona once as a kid. My parents took me and my sister and my grandma on a trip, and we hit the Grand Canyon, and that was cool. But we did not. I don't really remember it. I was probably 11 years old. I do remember losing a tooth. I just naturally fell out, and I bought a little scorpion thing, and I think this is one of the first times I was recording a trip. Like, I can remember having and holding the camera bag. Like, there's a very distinct photo of me, gap tooth in my mouth, holding the camera bag. And I guess two things that comes to mind is the environment itself was fascinating. Like, I loved the desert. Oh, there's just a chicken. Oh, we let chickens have a wide berth. Yeah. Why did the chicken cross the road? Oh my gosh. Because somebody was making a video. So anyways, desert was fascinating. I felt like I traveled back in time when I was in this environment, like to days where there was no civilization, there were no empires, there were no massive systems that are built off of people, because that's what it is. And from the book Sapiens, they talk about the author talks about how it's shared beliefs, it's imagined stories that everybody can cooperate under, that creates something like an empire. So we're all cooperating with the empire, whether we honestly have a choice or not, as long as we are here. But to see that there are environments within the United States that are completely devoid of that. The desert. After you drove out of Nevada and Henderson, it just got emptier and emptier and emptier. And at some point, I was probably on the only car on the road for maybe 5 miles. I did not see another car, tracked it. So to think that places like that exist out here is really fascinating amidst all this turmoil that is happening with our country system. A thing that we've all, again, collectively believe in because it does have a benefit in some capacity to the living of current humanity. Could we go back to an era where we didn't have an empire? Sure, if push came to shove. I mean, we watch films about it all the time. If we had to regress back to a certain point, I think we could manage it because that's our skill. And if we don't, then, that's the extinction of us. And, everybody thinks that we'll take ourselves out. I mean, we might take out a lot of us, but ourselves, I don't know. But it is definitely a wild time to be living in the present. So past wise, I think about, again, from small tribes that just roamed to collective units, villages. A group of villages come together, start trading, start having mutual cooperation, start intermingling. Those villages become a larger thing, a township. And then from a towns together starts making cities. Cities together start making states or provinces or whatever you want to call it. So it's all a building block based on the connection points. And the problem with that kind of system is who is sitting at the top of this built thing? And why are they sitting at the top? How did the emperor become the emperor? A series of well-calculated political moves backed by a military and a religion. And that's exactly what Trump has done, by businesses. And I think, again, some of this is just venting frustrations. A lot of feels about this as somebody who works in healthcare. So I think when we think about the present system, like, what is the system that governs America? And not just the economy, but like the nature of it. I think that we have leadership, and I'll just put that in quotations, because leadership could be any number of roles, whether you have a title or not. I think leadership is more focused on personal benefits and gains, which has always been the case when it comes to wealth, is that those who sit at the top get a chance to hoard the resources while those at the bottom do not. And for some reason, this continues to be the chosen system. And when you think about resource owning and management, how do you obtain a resource? Most of the people who are hoarding them did not obtain it themselves. There are not as many self-made, well, I won't say that. There's definitely probably a lot more, but maybe not so much like I sourced it myself. Could be, but I think that, well, no, I say like nobody's like processing the ores and then turning around and doing things. Like they're getting it through trade or commerce of some kind. So yeah, I think there are fewer people who are probably like, actually doing the resource. But what we have created through, I guess, the sense of capitalism running the world, and this sense of money being a dominant force that governs our trade, because our world demands so much production, we have to really figure out where do we get resources from. And oftentimes when they're in these untapped places, a dominating force that is drastically needing resources will have to make moves on a smaller place in order to get access to the resources to sustain their living. It's the same even if an empire was an organism that needed to sustain itself off of food, and food was scattered elsewhere, it would naturally go to where food is. That's just like basic cellular That's like cytokinesis. Good science word. He's ready for school again. Um, so I think, it's just natural to gravitate to the place that has the resources and do whatever you do in order to obtain it. And that's just what we're seeing time and time again with rare earth metals. We're seeing places that are built around resources are coming under attack because the overconsumption of that resource has forced dominating empires to go to those places in order to sustain their living. And they'll find so many different ways to get around it, whether it's legal or illegal. But the problem is that those individuals who have the power have the means to make what the law is, so they can write what is legal and what is not based on whatever they're doing. It's hard to play a game when the other team is also the maker of the rules. Not really a way to compete fairly. But anyways, I think about, all throughout time, I guess since the agricultural revolution, like, resource hoarding became a thing. I mean, one of the greatest examples was like fiefdoms and kingdoms where everybody like lived on a plot of land and they worked it for the sake of the empire. Sharecropping, another great example. You're going to live on the land and I can either choose to pay you or not. So it's interesting. It's interesting how it all kind of wraps itself around, and it goes back to needing to consume a thing. For what? And I guess that's a hard thing to really ponder, is why do we continue to consume? And is there a point where consumption becomes indulgence? And is there a point where indulgence becomes gluttony? And will gluttony lead us to, do whatever it means to satiate our appetites? Ugh. Spiders are active this summer. Oh my gosh. Just left and right. I'm going to have to get me a little stick because somebody probably crawling up on me and I can't even make sense of it. Anyways, I feel like that guy on that news report. Got shit flying in my mouth. Bugs everywhere. I'm out of here. Oh, man. It would be so nice to get out of here. And I really mean that. And not just because the country's going to shit. I mean, that's definitely one of the feelings. But I've thought about this. In high school, we had this project, a senior project, that every student had to do in order to pass and graduate. And your project was anything that you chose to make it, but you had to do it. And it was such an amazing thing because, like, since freshman year, you're told about a senior project. Like, you're told that you're going to have to turn into something before you graduate. And knowing that, your first 2 years, you're just getting acclimated to school. And then as you start to get ready to graduate, you're like, wait a minute, I got to do a project. And I think I did swallow a bug. Well, it's gone now. At 15, I had a chance to travel to Europe. 21 days. I went on a bus with 40 other students and we hit 4 countries, maybe about 10 cities, 8 to 10 cities, and did everything from see shows to learn about histories, had a meal in a castle, and I dressed up as a jester. There's a picture of me in a cage. It's very funny. went to a theme park, all different things. Experience European culture. And it wasn't just summer camp. Like we had lessons, like we had to do journal entries and work prior to going. So it was definitely studious. It was a study abroad opportunity. Cost a grip, but I helped my parents, and I worked out a deal that if I did some things to make some of the money, that they would make it happen. So they made it happen, and my God, I'm so glad they did, because I got a chance to go to another country. I got a chance at a pivotal time in my life to see another side of the world. And as a southern black boy from Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, which is just an odd name in itself, see, look, there they go. Just working out here. I respect it, spiders. So I go to Europe. I experience these things, and I come back different. It's so different. I have seen things that my peers will never see. I have done things that they've never done, and I now have this intimate knowledge of another country, and not just one, but four. I have intimate knowledge of another continent, and that intimate knowledge of another continent really changed my life, because it allowed me to think outside of the box, think outside of Fuquay-Varina. And I've always been drawn to getting out of here. So at 18, when it's time to do my senior project, I chose to do a report about studying abroad and the importance of being able to see the world. And I remember utilizing some of my images and journal entries and some of the things that I had to do and I experienced out there in my project. So saying all that to say that, yes, for a long time I've wanted to get out of America. I've wanted to experience what it's like to live in another place, to tap into the discovery that's required to learn routes, learn to drive differently if you're driving at all, learn street signs. Man, I'm telling you, I'm just covered in webs right now. It's so funny. So I think about that and how amazing it would be to live that experience. Not just because, again, things are going bad, but because there's something else out there. And I guess I have to tie this back to, everything that this channel is about, or whatever this series is about here. It's the way that our world has become what it is because there were people in the tribes that went elsewhere, that either stepped out or chose to live somewhere different. And it's those people, those pioneers, those who took the first step, were willing to bridge a gap. So with a bridged gap, it became possible to experience more, see more, do more, know more. And I don't know. I'd like to be a pioneer for my people. And I don't just mean black people. I mean black people, but I mean my people, fellow earthlings, fellow humans who are just curious about, the nature of the world, what's out there, what's beyond what they won't see, but are willing to witness through my eyes and trusting my vision and my perception of the world. And isn't it beautiful to be an artist, to be able to navigate that, to impress my perspective into a passion that's understood by others. It's beautiful. Like these spider webs. Beautiful.